There you are, folks. You know what it is. It's Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Welcome to MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, and our spotlight on Miami each and every Wednesday night, courtesy Cam Underwood from State of the U. Cam, how you doing tonight?
I'm awesome. Can't complain. Just got a little food. It's sitting right over there. I'm going to demolish that at about 9 o'clock. Got a nice adult beverage to hang out with you guys and talk some Canes football. So, yeah, it's going to be a good time.
And if I remember your schedule correctly, you will not be here next Wednesday night, correct?
That is correct. I'm going to be in Redacted, my secret vacation location that seldom few number of people know. But, yeah, honestly, just wanted to keep it to myself. Want to go have a wonderful experience. I was talking to my uncle, whose favorite place in the world is the place that I'm going, and I didn't know that. So we had a nice long conversation about that the last couple of days and things. So, yeah, I'm going to be I will not be in the continental United States. I will be elsewhere. So you guys can just have a great Wednesday night without me, and I'm sure that we'll catch up sometime in the future.
Sounds like an enjoyable time. You'll have to loan one of your many contributors there at State of the U next week, who will have a high standard to meet, and also means that you have to double up the ante tonight.
I mean, I'm always on, okay. When the lights are on, I'm ready to play, so let's go.
All right. Jaylen Rivers, we've talked about him in volume over the last couple of weeks and what he would bring to this program and how much of a valued commodity he is in target for this football program, and he is committed.
Finally, yes. Yeah, Jaylen Rivers. So that's the big news, and I know I saw a bunch of people even on the Welcome to the U piece on State of the U that I write. Whenever we get a commit, people are like, "Oh, I can't wait to hear Cam talk about this on Wednesday night." Well, here we are. So, it's a big get for Manny Diaz. It's a big get for Butch Berry, the offensive line coach. It's a big get in general to get somebody of Jaylen Rivers' size and caliber to come to Miami. If you did not hear previously or read it on the website, stateoftheu.com, by the way. Jaylen Rivers is from the Jacksonville area. He goes to Orange Park Oak Leaf High School, which is the same school that starting linebacker Shaquille Quarterman once starred at. So there's a mini pipeline kind of going on because we have, another player, once every 4 years you get a really good player from there. But Rivers is massive. He's 6'6", 331. That's what he measured in at the opening regional. And he plays left tackle in high school, obviously. And there's a chance he could stay there in college. That's what we recruited him for. He has the height and the length and the athleticism to do that. If he's not able to stick at tackle, then he should be a big guard in the Vaughn Donaldson kind of mold. And Donaldson is like, 30 pounds, 40 pounds bigger. So he's not that massive as Donaldson. But, yeah, like a bigger, on height and girth guard if he's not able to stick a tackle. But the plan is to try Jaylen Rivers at tackle, maybe even at left tackle. Who knows? But, yeah, that's the goal. And getting a player of his caliber is just huge for this program. You need guys like that. You cannot always lose them to any other team. I mean, Florida signed 7 offensive linemen last cycle, 3 of which had previously been committed to Miami. And, including 2 tackles. 2 of those 3 were tackles. So, like, dude, you got to get these guys, and closing on a Jaylen Rivers is huge. Now, previously, he was in a package deal with his friend, teammate, godbrother, Chance Williams, who's probably going to go to Florida because Williams wanted to, and he was kind of the driving force behind that package deal from all reports, but Williams wants to go somewhere that plays a 3-4 defense, and Rivers was like, I want to go somewhere that I want to go, and those things might be mutually exclusive. If I want to go up to a place that has a 3-4 defense for you, that's fine, but like I'm looking out for me, fam, you know what I mean? So they split their recruitments, and then Rivers decided to come to Miami, and you cannot overstate the impact of that. Hopefully this is just beginning momentum through the summer and with offensive line recruiting. I'm just on the finishing end of the class breakdown for this month, but there are a lot of names out there along the offensive line. And I'm going to cut you guys off at the pass because I know they're going to ask me about him. The Mincy kid from Cardinal Gibbons, Gerald Mincy, he just committed to Florida last weekend. So, I mean, that's where he wants to go, and that's fine. But you got, Isaiah Walker Jr. from Norland. You have Marcus Dumerville from St. Thomas Aquinas. You got Michael Carmody, who's from Pennsylvania, but he's already taken an unofficial visit, and he's probably going to return for an official. He's a 6'6", 285 tackle. Connor McLaughlin, our guy Gabby Arudia, had an interview with him that's up on the State of the U website. He's another tackle, 6'7", 260, who with the frame to add size. If you can get one or two of those guys to go with, a Rivers, who's a top 150 kind of player in this class, that's massive. And this is the kind of prospect that Miami has not necessarily closed on recently. Obviously, like I said, Vaughn Donaldson is the one that Miami has gotten of this size and of this ilk. But Donaldson is even better. He's a guard. He's not a tackle. And that's been proven. Like, he played tackle in high school. He came in and played guard, was a freshman All-American, said, I want to play tackle because everybody wants to play tackle because that's the money position on the offensive line. If you have the physicality for it, you want to try that. We tried him at right tackle. Nah, that ain't you, fam. Kick back inside. Go ahead. Be left guard, left guard, right guard, maybe even some center, which is what he played. But if Rivers can stick on the outside of tackle, that's so huge. So yeah, that's a really, really big get, and that's the news of the week, really. So that's where I thought we should probably start the conversation. But it's a really, really big deal that Jaylen Rivers chose Miami and is going to be coming on down.
Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, bringing you Miami Talk, and we do it with Cam Underwood from State of the U. He's going to be off on vacation out of the country next week, so soak it in. And while Cam's off having fun, we're going to be, grinding away here next Wednesday night. So soak in the conversation and also show Cam and myself that you value what we do here. The Super Chat is available to you to help contribute to the channel. And JT Sounds keeps us on the recruiting beat. Hey, Cam, what is your take on Kentron Portier, wide receiver from Palmetto?
Kentron Poitier, yes. He's a guy who, it's a Haitian Creole last name. I have a friend, Tiana. She's not watching, but shout out to Tiana Poitier. So I know how to say that one, and from just my travels in singing. But anyways, Kentron Poitier is a big wide receiver. He's very big. He's like 6'4", 220, 6'5"-ish. I think he's listed like 6'5" or 6'6" in his basketball program, so he's like a legit 6'3.5", 6'4". But he's a big kid, man. And he goes up against two of the best 2021 corners every day, Corey Collier and Jason Marshall. And there's another defender in their secondary. Well, Cornelius Nunn ended up going to Syracuse. He was a Syracuse commit, decommitted, flipped to Miami, decommitted, flipped back to Syracuse. But he was there previously. So you got like 4 or 5 D1 or Power 5 defensive backs that Poitier's gone against in practice, which helps hone his skills. And he's a man, he can play. I watched the film and I go over the offers and everything, and people are saying, hey, look at this kid. And I looked and there's a lot to like. Now, could he grow into a tight end maybe? I don't think so. And I know everybody wants to do that because of David Njoku. David Njoku was big and he had that frame where he could add size. Kentron Poitier is kind of like that build, but more on the staying at wide receiver size, but he's big. But he's a kid who apparently Miami really likes, is moving up the board, probably even over some other higher ranked guys. And yeah, I mean, if you got to take Poitier to get in the conversation with Collier and Marshall for 2021, that's a price I'm willing to pay. But it's not just on the future planning, to try to get a connection at his high school that you would take him. Kentron Poitier can play. I mean, go watch his highlights. KentronPoitier. Look him up. Actually, I think the highlights are linked in this month's class breakdown. Yeah, it's right there. Or his 24/7 page where you can see them. Dude is fast enough. He's probably in the 4.6 range. But he's huge physically, runs good routes, has strong hands, and he will jump over you with his basketball background. I'm a fan of Kentron Poitier. I don't know if he's he has to be up there. Miami has 3 guys already committed at wide receiver. So now you're really just looking to round out the class, and you're looking for a guy with size. So Marcus Rosemy from St. Thomas Aquinas, 4-star, 5-star borderline guy. He's 6'2", 190, but he's not coming to Miami. So, okay. Mookie Cooper from St. Louis, who's in that Jeff Thomas mold, a smaller, faster, explosive guy. He probably had his spot taken by Xavier Restrepo, which I'm fine with. And that means to go with this other group of Marcus Fleming from Miami Northwestern, who's smaller, Xavier Restrepo from Deerfield Beach, formerly St. Thomas Aquinas, who's smaller, and Brian Robinson from Palm Beach Central, who's 6'1". So, I mean, he has decent size, but, I mean, he's not, like, massive. I need a guy with size. So, I mean, of the available names, Kentron Poitier is a guy that I would definitely look at, and he's local, and he wants to come to Miami. So there's a lot to like there, and I think that the recruitment can go in Miami's favor if we push for him. But he's a guy that is on the radar and a guy that I like for sure.
100 watching right now, including Mr. HD, my favorite day of the week, watching Mark and Cam talk Canes football. Of course, I do all the heavy lifting. Cam just sets me up, and then I spew out all the knowledge that I have on Miami football. No, we know what the deal is here. Cam's got it locked and loaded, and even in an off week last week, it's still better than anything you're going to find anywhere. I am amazed at Cam's recollection of high school talent out there, his catalog of stories involving current and former Miami players. And the stories and the angles and the perspective goes on and on and on. So we hope that you value that. Let us know that in the super chat, and also contributing to the channel with the likes, the comments, the shares, and the subscribes. All right. JT Sounds coming back with Romello Height. Are you familiar with him? Outside linebacker from Dublin, Georgia. So he's a Georgia kid. That 247 Sports has listed as going to Georgia Tech based on their crystal ball prognostications currently.
Yes, I am familiar with Romello Height. He's actually I still have linebackers and defensive backs to finish for this month's class breakdown, which should be up before I go on vacation. But anyway, I am familiar with Romello Height. He is coming in for an official visit this weekend to Coral Gables. So that's why he's on the radar. He's a big a very big kid, 6'4", 220, almost 6'5", 216, listed on his 247 profile, which is right in front of me there. So, yeah, he could stay at outside backer. There's a chance that he could bump down to defensive end because he's fast and twitchy, and he's got that size and length to him. So it'll be interesting to see which way we're going with him. I know that all the teams, are recruiting an outside linebacker, but Miami doesn't really play gigantic outside linebackers of that size. So, I think that we're maybe looking at him to transition to being a defensive end as he comes down. But yeah, no, he's a guy that I'm familiar with. Has a bunch of offers. I just opened up his profile. So, I mean, you're talking Kentucky, Florida, Ole Miss, Georgia Tech, Miami, among the 27 offers that he has currently. So he's a very highly recruited guy. 247 has him at a 4-star on their proprietary rankings. He's a 3-star in the composite ranking. So, somewhere in that 300 to 500 range for prospects. But I mean, if you're in the top, 350, that's pretty rarefied air in terms of potential. So yeah, he's a guy that, Miami is bringing in, and Manny Diaz and staff are really being a little bit more aggressive with these summer official visits than years previous, because last year there was only 2, Kevin Harris and Jordan Battle. Kevin Harris from Grayson, Georgia, Jordan Battle from St. Thomas Aquinas. Both of them decided to go to Alabama, which, hey, whatever. But yeah, this is going to be another official visit that's happening this upcoming weekend in a couple of days. And then there's going to be other visits past that. The subsequent weekend for Paradise Camp, there's going to be a ton of people on campus, a ton of visits and everything. It is my sincere hope and goal that our contributing staff at State of the U has you all covered for that, because, again, I will be elsewhere enjoying my vacation greatly. I might write up a couple things to have scheduled for you guys. But, yeah, I think, Gabby Arudia should be there. Marshall Thomas, I know he likes to write a bunch of stuff about recruiting. So there'll be a lot going on. But circling back to Romello Height, he's a guy that, a bunch of Power 5 programs are chasing after to fit in with their program in a variety of ways. So we'll see how his visit goes, and if Miami pushes for a commitment, which way that shakes out.
All right, folks, this is one of your main sources for Miami football right here. The other main central one would, of course, be right there at State of the U. But in regards to Miami football talk, bring it right here each and every week at 8 o'clock Eastern time, right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Jonathan Dennis, South Dade offensive guard, being asked about.
He's another guy that I know that Miami is recruiting. I know that Miami is pushing for. Jonathan Dennis was committed to Miami. He decommitted, and he has a bunch of offers. I'm not going to look up his profile right now. But two of his teammates decommitted it, but they've recommitted. That would be cornerback Jaden Francois and safety/striker Keyshawn Washington, both from South Dade also, who did the same thing. They decommitted, but then they decided to recommit. So, and I already talked about this setting up this recruiting class, but in the numbers breakdown for this class, I said that Miami needs 5 offensive linemen this year, 3 of which being tackles, I believe was the number that I set. So while you have 1 tackle and 1 guard already committed, Miami is not in the position along the offensive line where you can turn guys away or stop recruiting guys, especially on the interior, and because injuries happen and you need numbers. And Jonathan Dennis is a guy that we have wanted, we do want, and we will want. So there are other teams pursuing him. Like I said, I'm not fully versed on all the teams in his recruitment right now, but I know for a fact that Jonathan Dennis is a guy that's high on Miami's board, and they're pushing to get him back in this class.
So the fair exchange here is that we deliver top-notch college football content, specifically here with Miami Talk each and every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Like the videos, comment, join the Super Chat, contribute right there, share the videos after they post and process, bring people in every Wednesday night. So next Wednesday night, warm them up with a lesser guest. But 2 weeks from now, Cam will be back to talk some Miami football with us.
Maybe. I will have my jet lag thing, so we'll see.
Okay,
but
maybe
definitely next week. Maybe next week.
2 weeks off. Wow.
Hey man, it's the summertime, bro. Like you guys will be okay. I promise.
We'll make it through. At least it's June. It's not October.
Right. Exactly.
So we would really be hurting. So we will bring in a Miami guest next Wednesday night and possibly the next Wednesday night to replace or fill the same time slot as Cam. The point being is that if we deliver value, which I believe we certainly do, please pay us back, likes, comments, share, subscribe, and join the Super Chat to contribute to what we do right here. All right. What do we have? Let's go into a positional unit. We talked offensive line last week.
Okay.
Is there a positional unit you would like to take, or do I just pull one out of the bag?
You can pull one out of the bag.
No Travis Homer, DJ Dallas back, Lorenzo Lingard banged up. Running back.
I'm good with running back. I think that Miami has a very strong running back group. I think that's the position of the week. Yeah, I think you're 2 for 2. I think that's the one that we're evaluating. I think we have the position preview coming up for that tomorrow on the website. But yeah, Miami has a bunch of talent at running back. Obviously, Travis Homer is gone, last year's starter. But DJ Dallas, he was almost a co-starter. He was kind of running back 1A. It wasn't really 1 and 2. They were at the top of the group by far. So DJ Dallas is going to be back, and he's going to reprise his role to start for Miami, which he did this spring. Also be a slash player where he can move around from wildcat to, if they run the 2-back system, he can be the lead back or the blocker. They can put him almost at an H-back, slot, punt returner, kick returner. DJ Dallas is multi-talented. So he's a guy who's going to play a lot. Number 13, DJ Dallas, one of my favorite Hurricanes, the ambassador from a couple recruiting classes ago, now in his junior year. So he's an upperclassman now, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, so he's going to be your starter, probably. Cam Harris, changed his name. Cameron Harris is going to be your he could push for starting job as a sophomore. Cameron Harris, that is. But he came on late in the year after Lorenzo Lingard's injury, and he showed some real burst and some real flashes to give people, the thought that Cameron Harris might even be the better option to start from day one this year. And when you have a guy of DJ Dallas's caliber, and then you're talking about a true freshman who's going to be a true sophomore, who was not an early enrollee last year, saying he could be as good as or better than Dallas right now, Cameron Harris, that's pretty dope. So that's the kind of talent you're talking about, where Cameron Harris was the other back in last year's recruiting class, because everybody's All-American 5-star was Lorenzo Lingard, who's working his way back from a knee injury. And I just saw pictures from the last football camp last weekend on campus at Miami. And Lorenzo Lingard has been in the weight room. Boy, like his arms and shoulders, like the show muscles are much larger. And he's walking around and he's running up and down the sidelines as an official during the 7-on-7 tournament, which leads everybody to believe that he's going to be a full go, or almost a full go, by the time the training camp rolls around in July. That's going to be awesome. So you have a 5-star All-American in Lorenzo Lingard, who could be your number 3 running back this year, behind Cameron Harris and DJ Dallas, or all 3 of them in some kind of grouping at the top, just rotating, going with the hot hand, splitting carries. There's elite level talent. And this is what I was talking about before when Mark asked me, who should, be the favorite team in the Coastal? And I said Miami, because of the talent. And this is what I'm talking about. Cameron Harris, DJ Dallas, and Lorenzo Lingard. I won't call them the best trio in America, because, I'm not apprised of everybody's roster. And there's teams like Georgia and Alabama who have only 5 stars in their running back rooms. But that's as elite a group as you get. That's in the conversation with pretty much anybody at the top of the running back rotation. Now, insofar as fullback, you have the 2018 recruiting class's number 1 fullback nationally. That's Realist George from Pace Academy in Atlanta, Georgia. He's a redshirt freshman, and he's going to have a role because he's more athletic and better than the other fullbacks on the roster. So I know that there are other guys there who, are a little bit older and they've done the dirty work and whatnot. But, Realist George is good. He played defensive end, he played linebacker, he played single back, he played fullback in high school. This is a kid who can really play. He loves contact. Speaking of stories, because Mark always talks about, I just have a recollection for them, but I'm a storyteller. That's what I do, honestly and truly. Realist George, on his official visit, he was told to leave the sideline because he just looks older. He had shaved head like I do and everything, and he looks old in the face. And so a Miami staffer, confirmed by people who were there, told him, he said, "Sir, this is an area only for the players, not for the fathers." He goes, "No, I'm a recruit." I said, "Sir, seriously?" And then one of the coaches had to come off the sideline and was like, "No, this is really a high school recruit." So that's just a random story about Realist George, but he has a great physicality. He should be the fullback for when Miami runs I formation, or 2-back sets with a fullback and a running back, not 2 running backs. So that's where I look for that. Additionally, in the running back room, you have Asa Martin, who was another All-American in high school. He transfers in from Auburn, but he's going to have to sit out this season. And he has said, and Miami have said, they are not seeking a waiver for Asa Martin to be immediately eligible. So I take them at their word on that, because we probably would have heard about that if they were either putting in a waiver application or with a decision, because even the ones that had a decision, like Luke Ford, the tight end, he had a decision rendered, appealed that decision, and then had that appeal ruled upon, and we heard about that. So Asa Martin's not going to play, but he's another All-American type caliber back who's in the running back room for the future. Additionally, you have the glass man, Robert Burns, who, he looks the part. He does. He is 5'10", 225 with 6% body fat. He has calves this big, shoulders, biceps, thighs. Anything you look for in a running back, a prototype drawing is Robert Burns. But Robert Burns just cannot stay healthy. He's not been healthy since his sophomore year of high school, which was 5 years ago now. Yeah, because he's a redshirt sophomore. So it's his 3rd year here. So 2 years before that. So you're talking 5 seasons since he was healthy. Had a decent, his showing after his freshman year, spring, at the opening regional at American Heritage High School in Plantation, Florida, not far away from my house. He put on a show of all time. It was the highest rated Spark rating of all time to that point. His 40-yard dash, vertical leap, power ball throw, the short shuttle, cone drills. It was such, and there's other guys who have been in college at Power 5 schools. There's other guys who've gotten drafted into the league. Calvin Ridley was there this day. and people were not focusing on Calvin Ridley because this freshman kid was putting on a show, and that was Robert Burns. I was there personally. I was there next to Bud Elliott, my SB Nation colleague, and a bunch of other recruiting analysts. Mike Felder from InTheBleachers.net, his old website, but he's with College Sports Now. Steven Nelson, who used to be with Bleacher Report, who's now with MLB TV or MLB.com. There were so many guys who were there, and it was just this throng of, oh my God, who is this kid and what is he doing? But that was like 7 years ago now. You know what I mean? Like, and the potential, if you can do something like what Robert Burns did on that field that day, that lets me know that you have that potential to do that. He has never reached those heights again. From his freshman year at Gulliver Prep and that day at the opening regional. His sophomore year, he was decent. Actually, he was pretty good his sophomore year at Gulliver. Junior year, he was injured. Senior year, he had 9 carries for 53 yards, a touchdown, and a 99-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And that was the entirety of his statistical interaction on the field his senior year of high school. He came in and enrolled early. John Garvin hit him during the Oklahoma drill, separated his shoulder. Boom. Freshman season, early enrollee freshman season, gone. That's a red shirt. Redshirt sophomore or redshirt freshman season, gets injured in practice again, doesn't really see the field. If he could put it together and stay healthy, it would be, that's house money. That's found money. That's spun gold to have a guy of that caliber adding in behind Dallas, Lingard, and Harris. It has just been so long that I don't believe that he can stay healthy. But if he can, that could be another running back in the rotation who takes carries, and not just takes carries, but can take carries and do something with them. You know, like when I was in college, Frank Gore was a freshman, and Frank Gore would come in and he averaged, 9 yards a carry playing in the fourth quarter, but he was the best guy on the field because he had the most talent, and, he was playing behind all these all-pros. And, of course, he's a Hall of Fame running back in his own right. But Robert Burns could be that if he could stay healthy. He could be that at the college level. He can come in later in the game when people are tired and has this elite physicality. I just don't know if he can stay healthy with it. So at the top of the running back rotation, you're going to start DJ Dallas, likely. 1A is going to be Cam Harris, probably at that 2 slot right now because he's coming back from a knee is going to be Lorenzo Lingard. Riz George is going to be your fullback. Robert Burns, if you get anything from him, that's added bonus, that's free money. And then obviously, depending on which quarterback starts, there will be other, kind of running or run game interactions with, your RPOs and your design runs with Nkosi Perry and Tate Martell more than Jaron Williams, but Jaron Williams can move too. And I think you're going to see more end arounds and those jet sweep touch passes, which are effectively run plays also. So, Miami does have very good talent at the running back position, and depending on the scheme and the other guys who get involved, there could be even other players, even additional players to help them out in the run game pursuits for this year.
In some level of practicality, yes, Asa Martin becomes the recruit and the signee for the 2019 class because otherwise there were no running backs signed in the 2019 class. And Robert Burns, his career statistics as of right now at Miami, 1 catch, 0 yards, 2 attempts rushing the ball, 10 yards. He's been invisible.
Yeah, and again, that is what he's done in the last 4 seasons. His junior year of high school, senior year of high school, and then 2 seasons at Miami. One was a redshirt, and then 1 year playing some. But pretty invisible. But again, you're able to absorb that because he was a high 4-star recruit. Well, at one time, he ended up, I think, as a borderline 3-star, 4-star because of the injury issues. But you're able to absorb that because you have elite talent elsewhere at running back.
Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, bringing you Miami Talk with Kim Underwood from State of the U each and every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. We've got 136 folks on the line, and as is always the case, you come on a little bit late. Therefore, you just wait for the video to post and you watch it from the beginning. Cam started the conversation with a profile on Jaylen Rivers, just committed to Miami just a few days ago, and then took on a spree of recruiting profiles as offered by you. Please help us build the channel by grabbing the Amazon link in the description section below. Don't have to buy the product. Don't have to do anything special. Doesn't cost you an extra penny. Just use the Amazon link below and you help us build the channel. Also, value the time that Cam gives us and that we deliver college football content here each and every day by contributing in the Super Chat. Also, you can join me at the Voice of College Football community. The link is below as well on that. What you do there is you join us for 2 exclusive live streams each and every week where I respond to your viewer comments, and I also bring you on to talk college football with me. All right. Somebody asked about Nkosi Perry. I don't necessarily think this is an awe-inspiring question, but just in regards to, based on what you saw last season, of course, being yanked and pulled back and forth on the sideline into the game and back and forth, whether that gave you enough of a look of his skills, abilities, and potential leadership skills to have confidence in Nkosi Perry this year.
You know, the thing about it is, if you're looking only at last season, you're missing the picture. And again, I've been watching Nkosi Perry since he was a high school recruit, since we started recruiting him his junior year of high school. Nkosi Perry has all the physical tools in the world. There's all kinds of potential there. I keep referencing his arm is elite. It's at 80 on the baseball 20-80 scale. It doesn't get better than that. You saw these throws. I throw up the seam to Jeff Thomas against Florida State, which was one play before that dime that he dropped to Brevin Jordan for the game winner. That throw up the seam, not many people even have the gumption to attempt, let alone throw it perfectly. And yes, Jeff Thomas had to jump to get it because he was in between 3 players, but there's dudes who don't even think about dreaming about even attempting that throw. So there is ability there, but this is year 3 for him. Potential has to turn into production now. And I am confident that I'm confident that Nkosi Perry has the potential to perform to the level that we saw in high school, where he not only broke but shattered Dante Culpepper's records at Ocala Vanguard, records that had stood for 20 years and were not even close to being approached. Records in Ocala or in the county that had not been approached in years, since John Brantley was a record-setting quarterback in that area. I don't know if Nkosi Perry threw for as many touchdowns as Brantley, who I think at one time held the national record, but it was close. So, yeah, I think that he has the talent. But obviously, subpar coaching and the offensive scheme did him no favors. And we talked about this before. I did, at least. You could tell, you could see that Nkosi Perry wanted to do things that he naturally did. Like, I'm going to run this way. I'm going to look this way. I'm going to improvise during this play in the way that I did in high school. And again, with the production that he had in high school, that's a thing that he could do well. But Mark Richt said, no, there's none of that. All that running, cut it out. That improvising, cut it out. You have to play by the numbers, paint by the numbers inside the lines of what I'm giving you. And you could see Nkosi Perry on the field fighting his natural instinct to do what coach said. And I don't think that Mark Richt should have given him free reign, but I think that there were no favors done in Nkosi Perry's estimation or in his pursuit for greatness. This now comes down to Dan Enos and his ability to coach and call and run an offense. I'm very strongly of the opinion, and I think that everybody is, that Dan Enos is a better quarterback coach than John Richt, who had no experience for the position and was hired at the ripe age of 25 after a college career in which he had nominal statistics, if any, based upon his last name and the fact that he's his father's son, and knew something about quarterbacks because obviously his father coached quarterbacks and, had Casey Weldon as runner-up to a Heisman Trophy, Charlie Ward as the Heisman Trophy winner when he was quarterback coach up at Florida State years previous. But John Richt himself was not good. And when you have a guy like Perry who's talented but raw, you got to develop him. And for me, I was a teacher for 15 years. That probably is over at this point. But when I was a first-year teacher, I remember talking to my mentors about the fact that when I had a plan or I wrote a lesson plan or I wanted to do something, right, in the classroom, teach the kids to move them forward, which is the same thing as coaching, where you're developing a skill, right? I had one path to go down. And if you didn't get what I said in that way, I had no alternative ready for you. And it was told to me from a mentor of mine, I didn't even have a bag of tricks, not even tricks in the bag, but a bag to put the tricks in. You know what I mean? And that was John Richt, I think. I don't think that I think he would try things one way, and if you didn't get it, I don't even have any fallback reference. I cannot give it to you another way. I can't teach you in a different kind of manner because I don't have that kind of experience. Dan Enos, however, has a wealth of experience. So maybe if he's trying to teach it the one way, coach it the one way if you want to take it that way, and that's not necessarily hitting home. Cool. I remember at Central Michigan. I remember at Arkansas. I remember it. I did something this other way, or I talked to this coach at this convention, or I read this, or I did that, because he's been coaching as long as John Richt has been alive. So now he has other available avenues to communicate with his players. So it's my sincere hope and goal that that is not only done with Nkosi Perry, but Jared Williams and Tate Martell. Now, Manny Diaz spoke about the quarterback position specifically when asked yesterday after a community service event, where he said, we strip the guys down, metaphorically speaking, on their technique and their foundation, their fundamentals, and we gave everybody equal shot with the ones, with the coaching, with the rotation and practice, all that stuff. So you're now going into the summer, you're starting the race at the same point, at that starting line. Now, whoever goes out and wins it, wins it. If you're that Matthew Bowling kid from Houston, that track star, cool. If you're Sha'Carri Richardson, who just left LSU to be a professional track star because she's winning every race by a whole bunch, but they're starting at the same point, cool. And if you fall behind, that's not necessarily what we want, but that's okay because somebody else went and took it. So I'm fine. I think that Nkosi Perry has a great wealth of talent. So too do Jaron Williams and Tate Martell. So I'm not as down on any of them as other people because I've seen the potential in all of them. I watched all the high school films. You can go back and look at those things. Even from when they were playing in college, there are things to like. There's also things not to like that need to get improved, but that's the nature of sports. So in all these cases, it really comes down to Dan Enos and the player themselves. How are they working right now, today, June 12th? What are they doing in the weight room? What are they doing on the practice field? What are they, hey, wide receiver group, why don't we go run on air? Why don't we go do this? Why don't we work on this playbook or this thing from the playbook? All of that's going on now, that's going to end up telling us showing us who's going to win, because the work that you do in private is shown in public. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the time that people are looking at you that you really develop. It's the time away from everybody, and that's what's going on right now. So getting back to the point of the original question, have I seen enough from Nkosi Perry to be excited for his potential? Absolutely. Same thing with Jaron, same thing with Tate. I personally am a fan of Nkosi, but I'm more a fan of this my alma mater, and whichever player goes out there and wins that job. And if it's Nkosi, awesome. And y'all know that I'll be leading the charge. I'll be driving the train. I'll be cheering as hard as anybody. But if it's not Nkosi, I'm still going to be up front pulling for that quarterback, because all these guys actually have Miami caliber talent. All these guys actually have Miami caliber ability, and they should be here, unlike previous year's quarterbacks. And I think that's a big difference.
We have a course at my place of employment. It's called Train the Trainer. So the idea is that you equip the trainer with the ability to adjust the training method to the particular trainee, their mode of learning, their style, their cognitive abilities. You take cues. You also take feedback from them, because some of it they know and they're aware of. Others, portions of their ability to learn that they don't recognize the trainee themselves, but you should be able to pick up on that from trying to convey information to them. And you mold your training style to the trainee. Another thing that comes to mind when you outline all that, Cam, is your guy Justin DeTavio joins us on a weekly basis to talk X's and O's. And one of the main themes that he brings across on a regular basis, and is an obvious aspect of offensive football currently versus when Mark Richt started to coach it and coach it successfully, is back in the day, you ran a play. You called a play based on whatever your philosophy or strengths of your unit, and the study that you did on the defense for that particular week. Well, there has to be, at this point, there's required less study of the defense, and it's more about arming and equipping your offense, both the players and the scheme that you run, with the ability to go out there, snap the ball, read the defense while the play's going on, and run, pass, pitch, do whatever according to what you see. So there's flexibility there. So you're rarely caught off guard, because you're basically, instead of old school where you call a play and you run it regardless of what you see, unless you've got a really well-developed quarterback who can audible out of that, and then you counter off of that on individual plays later in the game. Now you counter off of the defense in play. And so you have a team that's able to, and an offense that's able to read the defense in motion and adapt to it. And it doesn't appear as though Mark Richt was able to institute an offense with that type of flexibility.
No, and it was about the same as when Al Golden was here, except for less explosive. Miami, for the better part of a decade, has broken the huddle, lined up, and ran the play. No motion, no shifting, no alteration. Just, we're going to get to our spot. We're going to look to the sideline and stay in our same alignment, but still run that play. So, yeah, everything that you said and everything that Justin has said on the point it rings true. And yeah, I think that, with Dan Enos doing and running an offense, designing an offense that is more varied and dynamic in that kind of a way is going to be a big help. And Enos is building in things for the quarterbacks that are friendly. You're going to have a shallow crossing route on every play almost. You're going to have a check down play side, not to the, I'm looking this way, and then all of a sudden my check down's back over here. Okay, I got to do that. But like built in ergonomically, if you will, to the play, there's going to be reads and throws and just safety valves that are easy. And those are your, completion percentage builders, your confidence builders, things like that. And I think that having those things are going to be a little bit easier, or make life a little easier for the quarterbacks as well. Now, again, high-level competitive football is going to be challenging. I'm not going to say it's going to be a cakewalk. I mean, even for the 2001 Hurricanes, the best college football team of all time, there were games that were close. So there's that. But I think that Dan Enos is going to have Miami in a better place offensively, at least schematically. And if that helps the quarterback position play better, regardless of who plays, I don't care who plays, but the nameless, faceless person or people who play quarterback this year have to be better than last year. Last year, Miami got the worst quarterback play in Division I, bar none, full stop. And obviously, it was the worst of Power 5, but the worst in D1. And I mean, you're thinking of terrible teams. You're thinking of winless teams, 1-2-loss teams. Miami's quarterback play exclusively was worse than those. So if you take Miami's quarterback play from being in the 125 to 128 range collectively into the 60s, that's average, that's league average. But that's such a massive change positively that, if you're thinking, hey, Miami could have won X amount of games if they only scored 17 or 20 points last year with the worst quarterbacks around. If you have average, just middle of the road, B flat basic, who's a 6-6 team in America? Western Kentucky, something like that. Somebody who you're like, they're not great. But yeah, if Miami's quarterbacks are to that level, then the team should be able to achieve greatness, because you're not having that position stand in the way of that pursuit of greatness. And that does come down to the players developing and also the coaches developing them, and Dan Enos, the quarterback's coach and offensive coordinator, designing and implementing and calling an offense that is friendly for the quarterbacks and for everybody. And yes, of course, all the players making plays, the offensive lineman holding blocks, blah, 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 all that. All of those things as well.
174 on the line. So again, you have missed a ton. So please watch the video in its entirety. Rock You Like a Hurricane, thank you so much for the contribution. Asking Cam, do you still think Cristobal was a better hire than CMD?
Do I? Whoa! Do I think that Cristobal was a better hire than Manny Diaz? I think that Cristobal would have been a better hire in terms of recruiting. I think that Miami would have been a just absolute monster with Cristobal here leading the recruiting efforts. I like the continuity of keeping Manny Diaz. I'm going to leave that moniker, the CMR. I'm going to leave that with Mark Richt. We're going to call him Manny Diaz or Coach Diaz. I'm not going to keep that going. Here, myself personally, you can do it if you want to. But
I thought I missed something there.
No. Yeah, people.
When I saw that,
no, people want to keep that same thing going because you're only changing one letter. No. I'm gonna divorce us from that and go with Coach Diaz. But I think that Cristobal would have been a better immediate recruiter, but as evidenced with Jaylen Rivers committing, and that could be a turning point in Miami's recruiting efforts, Manny Diaz seems to be on the ball in that regard also. But, Cristobal has been an ace recruiter in a number of places, and he's been a head coach in a couple places and done that. So on that front, I think that Cristobal would have been a better choice in the short term, and we'll see in the long term. But overall, I don't think that there was a better choice available. I think that, Manny Diaz's father was mayor of Miami-Dade County. When he was a child. He's from here. He just gets it. He fits, in a way, unlike Mark Richt fit, because Mark Richt had a history of success, 9.7 wins over 15 years at Georgia, 9.7 wins per year, I should say, in his tenure at Georgia, almost 10 wins a season, 150 something. Yeah, okay, cool. And he had that cachet and that pedigree. But his energy was low. It ended up being, and yeah, he did well for a season, but it wasn't necessarily sustainable going forward, and he kind of hit his ceiling quickly here as opposed to being 12, 13, 14, 15 years down the line like it was at Georgia. Al Golden, I was just wrong. Okay, but I was still, the moment of the introductory press conference when, I forget who the journalist was, but asked him and said, what makes Miami a special job? He goes, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, we're not kidding you. Like, tell me, but Manny Diaz being from the 305 is like, oh yeah, well, we got the Patalito, we got the, he's just one of us down here, and it fits. So, in some ways, do I think that Cristobal would have been a better pick? Yes. Am I happy with Manny Diaz? Absolutely, and I believe that he's going to do a good job here.
Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. You know what we've got here each and every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. It's Miami Football Talk with 178 on the line. So please watch the entire video and soak up the last couple minutes here because Cam's not going to be on board for another 2 weeks. We will be here grinding away, working hard, but Cam will be, who knows, doing what? Beverages and whatever.
A lot of that, adult beverages, exploring. Yes, but I will be enjoying a much needed, sorely deserved vacation.
Jamaica Kane, please ask Cam about Mike Harley being a kickoff or punt returner.
I just think that there's better guys for both of those jobs. Does he have a skill set to do it? Yes. Did he do it in high school and do it well at St. Thomas Aquinas? Yes. I put it to you like this, and it's almost like the all-star debates of whatever your favorite sport is, because insert person got snubbed. Fine. Who are you taking off? If you want Mike Harley returning punts, are you going to have him returning punts instead of Jeff Thomas? I'm not. Instead of DJ Dallas, who also had a punt return touchdown? I'm not. In front of even other skill position players, a Mark Pope? No, give it to Pope. Give him a chance to go and make a play. At kickoff return, same dudes. Are you going to have Harley kick return in front of any of those guys and maybe another couple dudes who have elite straight line speed in front of a Nigel Bethel who had a kickoff return in the Traz Powell scrimmage for a touchdown? I would have Bethel instead of Harley. I would have Thomas. I would have Dallas. I would have Pope. So, does he have the skill set to do it? Yes. Is he at the top of my list personally? No. So, I'm fine with him not doing it, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he can't do it because he can. I just don't think that he's the best option that we have on the roster.
Terrell Johnson is asking, can Scott Patchen be a force at defensive end?
Absolutely. Scott Patchen has all the talent in the world, and he's going to be in that rotation. He's going to be maybe a limited impact because he's not going to be a 500 snap player at defensive end. But Patchen has skills, and if you remember 3 years ago, his redshirt freshman year, the first snap he ever played was in the game against Florida State 2016. And they ran a twist stunt, a tackle and stunt. And he waited for the tackle to clear. He came in the middle, and he blasted DeAndre Francois. Almost got there for the sack on his first play. And that was 6 games into the season because he was rehabbing from his knee. So, I went and I checked and I made sure. That was the first snap he ever took in college. So if your first snap is a quarterback hurry, a quarterback hit, nearly a sack, and forcing a throw that was nearly intercepted, that's the floor to me. Or if that's towards the ceiling. But Scott Patchen has talent. And if he were the best defensive end on the roster, I think that his stats would be even higher. But even for a player of his size, ability, and caliber, there's just other guys who are bigger, faster, stronger. So you have Trayvon Hill now. You have Gregory Rousseau, Jonathan Garvin, who could be a first or second round NFL draft pick. Jafari Harvey also is a true freshman coming in and getting rotation snaps. There's a bunch of guys there, so I don't think that it's going to really be the starters who are going to find their way towards being super high impact guys with the high end statistical counting numbers, like a bunch of sacks or things, tackles for loss, whatever along those lines and of that nature. But Scott Patchen's absolutely going to be an integral part of the defensive line rotation. He's absolutely a starting caliber player. I mean, is there a little bit of a fall off when the second team defensive line comes in? Yeah, but the gap between first and second team on the defensive line is probably the shortest or smallest of any unit outside of running back. So, yeah, I'm confident that Scott Patchen is going to be a key player for this team. I don't necessarily think he's going to be an All-American, but you're going to look back at the end of this year and say, yes, Scott Patchen was a key contributor towards one of the better defenses in America.
Mike Williams is commenting on Nkosi Perry a number of times. Clearly not a fan. Once we started on the Nkosi Perry topic, calling him that his last season's performance was the worst quarterback performance he's ever seen. The Pitt game in particular by Perry was the saddest quarterback performance I've ever seen.
Okay, and that's fine, but you also cannot ignore the fact that Malik Rozier played quarterback the last year and a half as well. I get that, but I'm not going to say the singular worst was Nkosi Perry when we had 18 games of Malik Rozier in the same time frame. I'm just not going to be here for that. And again, I'm not anybody's apologist. I'm not trying to say that what we saw last year we did not see. However, there were positives and negatives that were seen, and Nkosi Perry still has talent and potential where you can hopefully develop away from some of those bad things. So I'm not going to fight you on that topic. I will say, however, that the bad part was not the only part that we saw, and even the bad things that we saw from him were still better than what we saw from Malik Rozier previously. So, again, I'm not trying to sit here and lie to you and say everything is perfect and Nkosi Perry never made a bad play. That would be asinine, and I would not insult your intelligence as such. However, you're not going to insult my intelligence by calling what Nkosi Perry did was the worst thing that we've ever seen when we just had Malik Rozier also as well playing quarterback these last 2 years. I'm just not going to accept that. I'm sorry.
Anthony Manzano's got an interesting topic that we could hit, basically asking you, and we'll do this in a future week, asking you to project offensive stats for individual players, output, production. We could do that coming up, and we got people asking for a second hour, 1 hour. Embrace it, feel good about it. A limited time, it becomes more valuable.
No, I'm with you guys. I appreciate it for one. The statistical predictions are going to be tough because we don't necessarily know the balance of the offense or what's actually going to be done. But I'm willing to do the thought experiment with you guys in the future. If you want to do the thought experiment with you guys in the future, 1 hour, 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 1 hour that's the thing that I'll think about. Not while I'm on vacation, after my vacation, but that's the thing that I will consider.
Please, no. Your time is more valuable than that.
Absolutely.
Keep in mind, and I lost track of the specific comments that I was going to make my comment in response to. That we are here, we deliver college football content, Miami in particular with Cam. So just understand the value there and respond accordingly. Also keep in mind that in addition to what we deliver here with Cam is that I had the wholesome one on this week. I didn't want to bother Cam with this, and he did some individual position breakdowns as well. So we are delivering tons of Miami content. If you don't get enough here in the spoken word, you go to State of the U and you get your fill there. Take it home, Cam.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. So for the last time for a couple of weeks, be sure that you guys follow us on Twitter at The State of the U. My personal account is at Underwood Sports. The website is stateoftheu.com, on Facebook.com/The State of the U. And then also on Instagram, Instagram.com/The State of the U. So we're available in all those areas. We have a ton of great stuff. Brought in a bunch of new contributors who are doing great work. A variety of content streams for you this summer. We're reprising the 2017 SB Nation-wide content push for why we became Miami Hurricanes fans, because we have a bunch of new contributors since we wrote those pieces. So those of us who wrote those previously will reheat those, where you're learning about the new guys and gal, because we do have a female contributor now, or another one, because the other one, she got a full-time job doing something else. Anyway, but we're telling you a little bit about ourselves and our fandom, and you can interact with that. We have position previews. We're doing Build a Perfect Position Room. We're doing game previews for this season. We're doing a variety of different things. So all of that is there for you at stateoftheu.com and so much more. So please take your way over there, find us on all those different channels, and come fan with us.
Within the 2-minute mark, we will be right back here with Ohio State football talk. So I'm shutting down this link. We'll be right back. Just keep it locked in to the front page of my YouTube channel, and we will be right back. Cam, enjoy your dinner. Enjoy your vacation. We will talk very soon.
Definitely. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you later.